You are listening to the Music Ed Mentor Podcast, where we help music educators build, manage, and grow thriving school music programs and have long and happy careers. Although that might not be following our MO for this episode. I am your host, Elisa Jansen-Jones, author of The Music Educator's Guide to Thrive, a self-help book for music teachers who are looking for a holistic and practical approach to lifestyle management. Today, we're going to be addressing something that has become a massively hot topic in some of the music teacher groups on Facebook. Hating your job. Like hating your job to the point where you just don't want to come back. Last July, as I was preparing to present to the NAFME Southwest Division Collegiate Summit, I decided to do a quick poll in one of the big music teacher groups. I put a screenshot of the poll on the show notes page, so be sure to check it out. The top reasons that more than 400 respondents gave for burning out of the profession were lack of appreciation by community and administration, lack of work-life balance, the job is too big, student behaviors, and all of the above. So since many of us are feeling a little bit burnt out already, and for most of our listeners in North America, we're just barely starting the school year, I figured I could give you some solid tips for how to make sure you won't want to come back next year. This episode is all about you and the things that you can try tomorrow to make sure you will have a miserable time about it, so you too can answer all of the above on the next poll about burnout and have some awesome stuff to vent about online. But first, a couple of announcements. Smart Music has once again teamed up with the International Music Education Summit to offer something completely innovative for your music students. Do you appreciate the extension opportunities honor bands give to your students? The collaboration, the challenging music, the working with other directors. But sometimes we just can't make that happen for our students due to many factors, like finances, parental support, and location. That's why Smart Music and the International Music Education Summit are creating the Virtual Honor Band. This is an experience like no other for your students. No travel required, no participation fee at all. Just a great opportunity for your students to experience the extension of a virtual honor band, something new and something challenging. To learn more, visit musiceducationsummit.org/audition-information to learn how to get your students involved. And while you're there, learn how you can present at a conference session for one of our 2020 virtual events. This year, not only can you offer a presentation right from home, but the summit has created a way for you to make a little money on the side too. Go to musiceducationsummit.org to learn more and visit smartmusic.com/blog to find all the show notes for this podcast. Now, let's talk about you and how you can burn out of this teaching career tomorrow. First things first. If you really want to hate your job, the first thing you have to do is stop taking care of yourself. Start by skimping back on your sleep. Sleep as little as possible and don't take a break all day. Start an early morning class and stay up late in zombie mode binge watching Netflix. The other alternative is to sleep too much. Go to bed early, sleep as late as possible, hit the snooze button several times. Make sure you take a nice long nap right after school. Because did you know sleeping too much can be just as disorienting as sleeping too little? Let me tell you something I've learned about sleep. There's exactly no right answer for everyone. Your body is different. In fact, it is completely unique. What isn't unique is that your brain has sleep cycles. Have you ever noticed that when you hit the snooze button to squeeze in that extra 9 minutes, you often wake up more tired than if you'd just gotten up the first time? Have you wondered why that is? It's because your sleep account isn't like your bank account. You can't just keep adding to it and expect it to get more full. When you fall back asleep after waking up, that's like telling your body it's okay to go ahead and move through an entire sleep cycle, which for most of us is 45 to 90 minutes, not the 9 minutes that you think. So unless you're going to set your snooze button for a 45 to 90 minute delay, you're actually forcing your brain to wake up when it thinks it's in the middle of a sleep cycle. Have you ever noticed that when you get home from school and you're totally exhausted, another complaint I've heard a lot on Facebook lately, which is why we're doing this episode, you get home and you just want to take a nap. And when you do, you often wake up and feel more sleepy or groggy. That's because you kept your body up long enough that it figured when you fell asleep after work, it was bedtime. You waking up for dinner just 1 hour later is like waking your body up in the middle of the night. You're not actually doing yourself any favors. I've been known to experiment with my sleep cycles. Our regular listeners have heard me talk about this before. I've made my body adapt to polyphasic sleep, where I was just 4 hours of sleep at night and 3 naps spaced out during the day. I've done biphasic sleeping with a 5-hour night and a 90-minute nap, or siesta. I've done just 6 hours at night with a single 20-minute nap. And I've tried sleeping for 9 hours at night too. So I'm not just citing one of the many books you can look up or that I've read about creating efficiency in your sleep. I've actually tried most of them. And here's what I found out that works for me. All except the 9 hours straight. For me, 9 hours is too much. For me, 8 hours is actually too much. I've discovered that I feel best when I sleep about 6 hours at night and have a 20-minute power nap in the middle of the day. But you're not like me. You've got to figure out what works best for you. And here's the secret. If you do not want to burn out of teaching by feeling tired all of the time, any sleep schedule can work for you. The key isn't about how much sleep you have, as long as it's in that 6 to 8 hours range. It's about when you sleep. It's about making it regular and consistent because your body's going to adapt. The thing that will mess you up the most, that will make you the most tired, is changing your bedtimes and your wake-up times. If you want to feel the best ever when it comes to falling asleep and waking up, you have to set yourself a practical bedtime and be strict about it. Ditto that for your wake-up time and no hitting the snooze button. If this isn't something you're used to, that's okay, because your body is this amazing adaptable thing if you let it be. If you can give it 8 nights of consistency with a regular sleep schedule, it will adapt. Now, you may adapt a few nights sooner or a night or two later, but certainly around the 1 week mark, your body will finally accept that you're going to sleep at 10 and you're waking up at 6. And maybe you throw in a little power nap right after school if you need it, but for no longer than 20 minutes, okay? Or your body will go into a new sleep cycle and it will be difficult to wake up and you'll feel like poop when you do. That's right. I said poop. For me, the ideal power nap is 17 minutes. I've just done the work over the last 2 years to figure that out. So trust me here, your body will adapt. And when it does, you're going to find you will fall asleep easier, wake up more refreshed, and not be so groggy and out of it all day long. And you're not going to need that after-school power nap. Now, since we're talking about sleep, can we talk about the difference between sleep and rest? What happens to a toddler when they're stimulated all day long? They get cranky, tired, mentally exhausted, and then they break down. Well, guess what, my friends? You may not be a toddler, but some parts of your brain still are. And you know your job is overstimulating. We get to experience so much movement and sound in our classrooms, and it's freaking awesome. If you want to burn out for sure, keep it going all day long, all the time. Between classes, don't sit down or take a breath. Just go right into the next class. Work through lunch for sure, ideally with students in your room. Dedicate yourself 100% of the time, and you'll be sure to be exhausted. Fussy toddler like at the end of the day too. On the other hand, if you want to not hit that point, if you want to be able to get home from school and still have the patience and energy and life force to continue to live your life and give more to your family and friends, then you've got to take it a little bit easier during your day. I'm not talking about big, long breaks or walking out on a class, but just a mental break for a few seconds throughout the day. Just turn your brain off for a sec. Go look out a window and watch what the wind does to the trees. If you have a prep period, try working in silence instead of with sound. And don't you dare for 1 second start feeling guilty about taking time to just chill and rest your brain cells and regroup. Unless you really do want to burn out, then for sure, turn the guilt on full blast, baby. Give everything all the time. Or don't. Because once you've gotten good and exhausted and sleep deprived and guilt ridden, forget everything you learned about nutrition and just eat whatever you can get your hands on. Mountain Dew stop on the way to work? Don't mind if I do. Donuts in the teacher's lounge? Heck yes. Order a cheesy pizza for dinner because it's easy and you're exhausted? That sounds yummy. That's for sure a great way to make sure your immune system is super compromised and you're going to feel worse than just sleep deprived. You're going to get sick a lot. I mean, you're seeing how many students per day? Most of whom are using their mouth in some kind of way or other. You're touching their instruments, their chairs, their coats, their stands, and you have no idea what kinds of sickness you're exposing yourself to. Talk about not having energy. You realize that what we eat is fuel for our bodies, and not all fuel burns the same. Vegetables, fruits, meats, nuts, and healthy fats burn slow and consistent, like big hardwood logs on the fire. And they give you lots of great vitamins and minerals to boost your immune system and battle diseases. Processed foods, anything made with flours or sugars, anything from a box or a package, everything from a loaf of bread to breakfast cereal. They burn fast and hot, like throwing a newspaper on the flame. The energy was gone almost as quickly as it came. And how much nutrition do they give to battle disease? Almost nothing. If you want to stick with this teaching gig, you should probably commit to eating whole foods most of the time. I'm talking about vegetables, fruits, meats, nuts, and healthy fats. If it comes in a box or is processed or has ingredients you can't pronounce, probably a good idea to avoid that if you'd like to avoid sickness as well. Probably just eat as healthy as eating the box itself. You don't have to get all extreme and cut out all your favorite foods. Just fill your diet with healthier choices and reserve the less healthy options for the weekends when maybe you don't need as much energy. But if you're serious about staying healthy this year and having energy for your life, go for the things that are going to give you that long, slow, energetic burn. And speaking of burn, if you really want to be drained of energy at the end of the day, so you have nothing left to give your family, friends, or hobbies, or yourself, don't ever exercise. Don't walk more than you have to. Don't take the stairs. Keep that comfortable resting heart rate as long as you can. Definitely sleep as late as possible in the morning. And don't bother doing yoga or walking or any other kind of workout, because that's not only going to help you have more energy in the day, it's also going to set you up with some pretty great endorphins, which are going to help you be more calm and relaxed, think more clearly, and be more patient. I mean, for sure, don't commute by bike, because I tell you what, those days when I would ride my bike to school, which was pretty often, and yes, with a 20-pound pack that held my laptop and my change of clothes and all my toiletries, not only did it start to trim down my body, but I was a much better teacher all day long, and I still had energy to ride home. just as it is with your sleep. Your energy level doesn't work like a bank account. It requires energy to exercise, even to go for an early morning walk around your block. But when you do that, your body adapts and gives you more energy. You're spending it to make more. You're telling your body, hey, I need some more energy in my day, which means you need to be more efficient. It takes me back to one of my favorite quotes from when I was binge watching The Biggest Loser. When the going really got tough and the trainers had to kind of help them kick it into gear and remind them why they were doing what they were doing, one of my favorite quotes was, "Give your body a reason to change." And exercise does that. By exercising, even if you already feel tired, it's going to wake your body up and it's going to give it the message that it's time to adapt and change. You don't have to be all gung-ho like me, training for triathlons, going for 5 a.m. trail runs, and taking my after-school office hours in the weight room. You have to do what feels great for you. Unless, of course, you're serious about this burnout thing, which leads me to the next item on our to-do list. If you're done not taking care of your body, for sure you will need to stop taking care of your mental and emotional wellness. Don't take time to turn your brain off. Watch lots and lots of TV and spend as much time as you can on social media. Be sure to start your day by sleeping as late as possible so you're in a massive rush all morning long. Work right through lunch. I'm telling you, you've got to tell yourself all day long that you're stressed, you're unappreciated, and you just can't do this job. And tell yourself that your students are the absolute worst and your situation is awful, and you have no idea how long you'll be able to keep it up. Self-talk is really critical here. The more you tell yourself the awfulness of your situation, the more you'll be convinced of it. On the other hand, if you'd like to go through your day filled with a calm confidence, you could take a little bit different approach. You could spend some time practicing mindfulness every morning. You could learn to meditate, which in my mind is just taking time to practice being happy. It's the time to train your thoughts, just as you would train your fingers to learn a new scale. You train your thoughts to think the better things, to think things like, I can do this. I'm amazing. I can handle anything that's thrown at me. I am full of energy all day long. And my students aren't awful. And I am appreciated. Certainly, if you want to burn out quickly, you should start your day not with quiet meditation and practicing being happy and setting yourself up for success. You should start with social media. Just open up your phone right when you wake up and check on the news and see what other updates you have in all of your different social media platforms. And make sure that if you do that, you're comparing yourself to all the successes of everybody else. And if you have a stress-inducing email from your principal, be sure you read that first thing so you can dwell on it all morning long when you actually aren't even at school yet, so you can't deal with it. By opening up your screen and letting the world impose itself on your day, on your outlook, you're ensuring that you are no longer in control of how your day is going to shape up. You're relinquishing your control over your own outlook. But if you want to take back your control, you just have to ignore the rest of the world for a while. Take a few minutes every morning to work on yourself, to focus on what you need. You need to decide how your day is going to look. And if your day is going to be really stressful and burnout inducing and super energy draining, be sure it's completely jammed packed from the moment you wake up till the moment you lay down. I mean, if letting your body be unhealthy still hasn't made you want to leave the profession, and being mentally and emotionally drained and not nurturing yourself in those ways, I recommend saying yes to everything that's offered to you. 90-minute classes for elementary students? Heck yeah. After-school drama club? Absolutely. Running the local solo and ensemble competition? Why not? Providing another pep band for another game? Sure. Say yes to everything offered to you, and soon you won't find you have time to take care of your mental or physical wellness. Do everything you can as often as possible. Put everything you have into your program. You'll get overwhelmed for sure. Just keep letting things pile on until your hands are beyond full and your schedule doesn't allow time for sleep or rest or exercise or thoughtful nutrition. Because when you learn to say no to things, that could be like a little injury to our sensitive ego, right? I mean, we can look at it like we're honored, that they even thought to ask us. Or we can look at it like we should be able to do anything. I mean, I play horn for gosh sakes. I should be able to do anything, right? Well, I mean, you can do anything because you are a talented, brilliant, considerate, and organized person. You wouldn't be a successful music educator that you are if you weren't. But that doesn't mean you have to do everything just because you can do anything. One thing you do have to do is take care of yourself. Because if you don't, you won't be able to take care of anyone else either, or any of those many things that you want to be able to do. And taking care of you doesn't mean just saying no to optional things. It's letting people know that you need that space, you need to recover, and you deserve to. If your schedule is too packed, advocate for a lighter load. Do the work to find the data to show that you are doing too much and it needs to change. You don't just have to take what other people give you. You are the maker of your own life, and you don't have to settle at all. You're a clever person and deserve to be advocated for. And sometimes there's no one else to do it for you. You're just going to have to do it yourself. I speak from experience here. It was massively challenging for me to go to my principal and admit that I, the great and all-powerful Miss Jones, couldn't handle 3 straight teaching days without prep time. It was run, nonstop until after Mass on Thursday morning. And even then, I only had an hour of prep that day and then one other 90-minute period on Friday. For as many classes as I was teaching, from grades K through 8, I needed more time than that. When I showed him the schedule and told him the issue and suggested an alternative, it was easy for my principal to make the changes to alleviate the rigorous routine I thought I could handle. What would have happened if I hadn't asked for a change? Nothing would have changed. And if he had said no, there was no way they could change it, then still nothing would have changed. I had nothing to lose by asking. It wasn't like he thought poorly of me and handed me more classes. Of course, if he had, I would have left the job very quickly after that. And another way to get totally sick of teaching music? One of the tendencies we have as music teachers is to do music all of the time. This is a great way to get burned out from loving teaching music, is to have so much music in your life that you just can't stand it anymore. Listen to music on the way to school, then all day at school, then on your way home, then while you teach lessons, and while you watch TV. It's constant sound. For your hobbies, if you have a hobby outside of work at all, be sure to play in an ensemble or write arrangements. Keep that constant stimulation going. Certainly don't do something non-music related. Don't take up painting or writing that poetry book you'd love to write. Don't start a hiking blog or join a wine tasting club or start making wine on your own for that matter. Certainly don't set yourself a challenge to read all of the Charles Dickens novels or join a book club, because when you do start to diversify your life, you start to explore new settings and new ideas. And this is engaging to our brain, not stimulating in the same way as teaching all day long and all the rigors involved in that demand, but really getting into that sweet zone where time just kind of disappears. We learn something new and it's outstanding. Remember how that felt when you were in high school or in college? When the lights went on for a new subject and you got excited just to learn and to practice it? That shouldn't end when you graduate. Find something you enjoy that doesn't feel like work and do it a little every day. I have to confess that for me, many days, that experience, that happy, challenging feeling is learning a new instrument. I'm still working away on getting better at the ukulele, and I just bought an electric bass. Yes, it's more music in my life, but for me, I get to jam with my kiddos and my husband, and it's music, but it's also completely awesome. You got to do what floats your boat, my friend. And if you do, you'll start to feel better about this whole life thing. And then maybe what you should try next is, well, feeling like the whole world is out to get you. Your students are poorly behaved, probably because they don't like you. Think about how that combined with society and video games and hormones and the parents who don't support you. You have no funding for anything, not even to take a class to be a better teacher. And all the other teachers at your school gossip about you when they think about you at all. But mostly they just forget that you're even there. Sure, you pack the house with your concerts, but that doesn't mean anything to the majority of the population. That's just your job. You're just the music teacher, tucked back in the back of the school, just there to provide the important teachers with their prep time. You're non-essential, you're unappreciated, and you're easily cut from the curriculum. I get it. Not just as music teachers, but as people, we want to feel appreciated. It's a human need. We want to feel important. I mean, music is so freaking noble. And yes, I said freaking again. We are math and science and history and PE, and look at how much music education helps every other part of the brain. We don't have to do standardized tests in music, but maybe we should. It would make us more important, right? If we want to burn out quickly, we need to climb up, up, and up to this place of elitism. The best thing is to feel like everyone else is looking down on you when you feel like they should be looking up. Really pump your ego up super high so that when others feel higher, it makes you feel low. It's a weird visualization, but stick with me here. Take every opportunity to feel unappreciated or ignored. Really only look at the negative aspects of your life and your teaching. Be as offended as possible when no one from your administration shows up to your performance. Really let it eat away with you that even though your students were awesome, the parents loved it, and you had almost the entire school involved, that they still didn't show up or care. Focus only on the stuff that makes you feel inferior. You're underfunded. You're underappreciated. You're overworked. People forget about you. That kind of thing. Really soak in the indignation. And then realize that only you are the one really making yourself feel this way. No one else can make you feel anything. It's your own thoughts that are driving these emotions of inferiority, and the emotions are driving the beliefs. That's the simple way to put it. And when we believe what other people think about us and value that over more than what we think about ourselves, we let them win. You're giving them permission to determine your own worth. And who should be determining your own worth? It really should be you. Now, I know this may come across as a little tongue-in-cheek, but in this case, I'm not kidding. Music is important. It should be honored as important. But unfortunately, for most of us, it's just not. You, as the music teacher are important. And no, we aren't always treated that way. We can work to change that through various advocacy techniques, but then you've got to find appreciation where it is. You've got to look on the brighter side of life. There is a student in your classroom today who appreciates you. There is a parent somewhere hearing their student sing a new song that appreciates you. There's a teacher in your school who wouldn't know what to do if you weren't there. There's a student who comes to school just for your class. The rest of their day is crap for them. And yes, I said crap. But music is the only reason they are coming to school. Who gives a flying buttress what anyone else thinks? For that kid, for those kids, for those appreciative parents, music class is it. You are the reason. All you have to do is remind yourself of that. Focus on those people, the people who do appreciate you, that want you there, that can't be without you. Did you really get into music teaching for the adoration of other people who took a different path themselves? Did you get into music teaching for the trophies and the awards, the pats on the back, or the money? Or did you choose it for the students to make music make a difference for them? I recommend creating a Google Drive folder where you can put copies of positive emails, statistics from successful concerts, photos and videos of all the tiny little successes and notes of appreciation from your students. Then, when you're feeling down or unappreciated, open that up and look over all your successes and feel successful and feel appreciated. Remind yourself, did you really get in this job for the adoration? Or did you get into it to bring a love of music into the lives of children? Are you really in this to teach students to read whole notes and half notes? Or to teach them to use music in their lives for good so that one day they become advocates for your job? Are you just here to teach them the intricate composition techniques of dead composers, or to create music for themselves in any way that they can? Because, my friends, there's no wrong way to create music. When I was 8 years old, I didn't ever have parents at home. I was an off-leash kind of child who could wander the neighborhood and get into trouble. Instead, I wandered around singing to myself. I'd make up songs about the things I saw or I felt. It took my mind off the fact that at home, there was nothing for me. I didn't think about the melody or the harmony or the chord progressions or my technique when I was singing. I got through my ragged childhood by singing music that came straight from my soul for no audience but myself or the birds in the trees. That's what teaching music should be about, in my opinion. Not feeling appreciated by hundreds of followers, although you probably are, and it is nice on the occasions that happens. But it should be about sparking enough love of music in your students that they can use it to heal themselves and to create themselves. It's not about how many students you have in your band class. It's about how much class you have in your band. It's not about how much money you're given. It's about how big a difference you can make with the little that you do get. If you feel like you're unappreciated, you will be. If you tell yourself you're ignored, then you are. If you believe your students are horribly behaved, then they will be every single time, because that's where you focus. If you tell yourself that other people's opinion doesn't matter nearly as much as the good you know you're doing, then it won't. And if you tell yourself that your students are well behaved, you'll start to see them as such and you'll be able to treat them better too. So much of this life, and whether you're successful or whether you're burning out, it's all in your head. My friends, I don't believe any of you actually want to burn out of this profession. We really have one of the absolute best jobs in the world. Is it challenging? Heck yeah. It wouldn't be nearly as much fun if it wasn't. But if we want to stick with it, if we want to do our very best job, then we have to take care of ourselves first. Taking physical care of ourselves, emotional and mental care of yourself. It's vital, not just in the job, but in life. Recognize that it's the little voice in your head that's in control, and that you control that little voice. And once you can do that, half the battle's won. One more word of caution. If you really want to burn out by the end of this school year, please take yourself and the job way too seriously. Yes, music is a rigorous subject and just as essential to developing a well-rounded human as math and science and literacy. But it's also art and beauty and play and every emotion possible. It's fun and it's lively. It's deep and it's meaningful. It's serious, but it's also silly. Please don't take what you do so seriously. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to. And you don't have to do it all the way you were taught. To quote my spirit guide, Gandalf the Grey, all you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you. Focus on what your students really need. And sometimes that's not the needs of an entire full lesson plan. I do hope that you'll take some of that time and make it your best life. Before we wrap up, I want you to know how very much I appreciate you, even if no one else does, and even if we've never met in person. I know better than most how valuable your time is, and I am honored you take some of it to listen to me lecture you about life. This entire episode was prompted by my reading of people's comments online and the discouraging and venting posts that I'm reading so much right now. I hope that you've taken this time to glean at least a few ways to improve your life and to not burn out of the profession. If you've enjoyed this discussion, well, you are in luck because next episode, we'll be hearing from my friend and yours, Leslie Moffat, author of I Love My Job, But It's Killing Me. I'm going to bring her on to not only reinforce a lot of the things that I shared with you today, but to share her own perspective as a 30-plus year band teacher. And in case you didn't know it, I too have written a book, a practical guide for your overall wellness in this life. And as a gesture of my genuine hope that you take this lesson on how to burn out, or rather not burn out, I'm giving you a free copy to download. And I'm going to tell you right now, in the next few months, I'm going to have another book coming out as well. Now, this book is a first edition, and I'm working on some edits too, so please forgive any typos or things that should be in past tense that were written 2 years ago in present tense. To grab your free copy, go to smartmusic.com/blog and search for podcast episode 57. On the show notes page, you'll enter your email and get access to the free ebook download. While you're online, remember to check out the virtual honor band by visiting musiceducationsummit.org/audition-information and learn all about the professional development opportunities to you provided for you there, all which you can enjoy from the comfort of your own home. My friends, if there is anything I can do to help you with, please let me know. You can comment on the show note page or visit my website, professionalmusiceducator.com, or find me on Facebook. I'm there and I'm here to help you keep teaching on.